Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to another episode of Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., where of course we dive deep into this week's episode, give all the high points, talk about the low points, and where we hope things are going. Joining me, as always, we have, immediately to my side, of Smirking Gun Reviews, Mr. Rob Stone.
What's up, everybody? Ready to talk some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And of course, on the far side from him, representing the real S.H.I.E.L.D., Mr. Don Willie.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be back for another episode of Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. And oh boy.
I am so looking forward to tonight's chat. Of course, joining us live right now, we've got Silva Surfer, Ruth Smith, Barbaro, and Devontae Smith. Awesome as always to have you here. All right, just before we start off, just a couple of quick little announcements. One, it's been over 100 here at my place. As you can see, I am sweating a bit profusely right here, so I apologize for that. But my computer had a little overheat error earlier today. I've been babying it. I've got a fan right pointing up underneath it. But I just want to give you guys a warning. If at some point this stream suddenly disappears, that's because my computer has died, and I will do my best to get back into things, but I don't know how long StreamYard will hold the stream for us. So just want to give you guys fair warning on that. Also, next week, we have our big Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan special episode where you, as fans, can be right here on the screen, be part of the show. You can ask questions, you can respond to chat, you can be part of the whole conversation. And of course, we're doing this right before the big finale, and this will give us time to express our feelings, give our hopes for the end, and of course the following week give us all plenty of time to dive into the big finale, which I'm sure will be astounding. So, as always, since both Rob and I do have published reviews, we're going to start off our quick recap and impressions from the East Coast with Mr. Don Willie. All right, Don, what'd you think of this week's episode?
Okay. So I have to say, unfortunately, this is probably my least favorite of the season. This was a step down from last week. Last week was very, very powerful. This one, not so much. I understand what they were trying to do. You know, they're trying to loop everything around. Like I said, we said it, we all said it. This season is them trying to do their best rendition of Endgame to a certain extent. So you have younger versions of characters that we've seen before, and this time we got, Garrett. Mr. John Garrett, played by James Paxton, son of Bill Paxton, the man who actually portrayed him in season 1. Now,
hey, he had a great smile. I mean, come on, when he smiled, when he did his little thing, it's like you saw his dad in him. I mean, there were.
See, here is the issue, though, right? So right before we came on, I decided to look up like where Bill Paxton is from. Bill Paxton is originally from Texas. And even though he doesn't have what most people would consider to be a stereotypical Southern Texan accent, there is still a bit of folksiness with his delivery. James Paxton, unfortunately, was not able to emulate that, and so he definitely sounded like, oh yeah, I'm a kid from California who grew up, skating and, skateboarding and surfing and, every other word is either dude or bro. So, knowing that difference or recognizing that difference, it pulled me out of it a bit because I'm like, I see where he was trying to be like his dad, but I also see where he doesn't realize that he's failing at it.
Okay. Okay. I think the language pull is a real interesting small point. I mean, I agree with you for maybe different reasons, but I love how that's the thing that kind of is latching onto your ear. And I'm not saying that with any disrespect at all. I freaking love the fact that you're like, oh no, man, because you're right. He does have, Bill Paxton did have that little bit of just little anger, just a little bit of grounding in with his speech that James doesn't. I think it's really cool that you grab on that.
Yeah, it was one of those things that because when I had first watched it, I didn't realize that was Bill Paxton's son. So I'm just like, okay, he's doing, his kind of best impression of Bill Paxton, and it seemed to me like he was doing an impression of Bill Paxton. I can't remember the character's name, but the one he played in Aliens.
Hudson.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it seemed like he was doing an impression of Hudson, not of Bill Paxton, but of Hudson.
Okay. Yeah. No. I totally get that because I love the choice that they did have for bringing James in to play him because, yeah, there's a moment where he just smiles. Rich Room mentions in here the laugh as well. There are small things that are like, oh, there it is. I see it right there. But I think everything else, and some of it, I think, was the writing, trying to keep giving him catchphrases and Garrett-y things to say that was a little too much. And I also think you're right. He was doing sort of an impression of one of his dad's character as opposed to doing, and I think he's just young. He doesn't have maybe the chops to really figure out how to do that right kind of impression. I think, to me, I just kept thinking that less was more. He needed to do less of trying to be his dad and just let those little ticks come out. And I think that would have been perfect. But you're right. I like that he was there, but he wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to say that he was bad, but it's just I think that whoever was directing him, because it may not have been the main director who was doing that, but whoever was giving him direction, should have looked at the older episodes with John Garrett for reference, or at least had them on set. So this way you can say, hey, look, no, this is maybe a little too over the top. And you know what? And Barbaro even just put it in the comments. He was too hyped up, And I get it, maybe, he's a younger man, a little more spry, but still, it came like the way that Garrett was. He was he was a little more low key than the Garrett that we see in this episode, and that was the thing that that kind of threw me off, is because he just came off as way too overplayed. If he could have just brought it down just a little bit, and made his delivery just a little more subtle and more reserved, he would have nailed it 100%, because he had the look, like you said, he had, the mannerisms were there. It was just that it was, just too in your face at times with certain things, like after he teleported for the first time, right?
Right.
I couldn't see Bill Paxton, kind of coming in there and you're like, yeah, woo, oh, that was awesome, man. No, he would have came in like, man, that was awesome. You know, like, and just the little nuances there are the things that kind of pulled it back for me. Um, not the, and let's kind of go. I don't want to just harp on this one character because he wasn't the only reason why the episode wasn't as good as last week.
Sure. Let me hold you right there. Just a quick response off from the chat here. I'm giggling, and that's because I'm looking at things. For the most part, everybody loves. They got Paxton. They got James in to replace his father's role. Most people actually really loved his performance. A few people do agree with us. Silver Surfer, I was laughing off of your comment. Y'all acted like old grumps. You forgot how you were when you were 20.
I haven't forgotten.
I can't totally dismiss that response there. So that may be true. But yeah, I mean, there's one thing with being youthful, but I think the other problem again was that there was a lot of other things in with the episode, like I said, that I really do want to kind of hit on. But Don, why don't you go ahead and jump in the other things that were bugging you? Unless Rob, did you want to hit on something with James before we move on? I feel like we're getting in a rhythm here. So,
as far as he goes, I mean, he had some of the swagger. The face, you could see it right away. The big smile, the huge smile. And yeah, I mean, the writing didn't help him. He's not a seasoned actor. He had the task of having to portray a character that his dad played. He's not playing an original character that he could do something with. So it's a thankless job of doing that. They really wanted to pay tribute to it. It's none of us are saying that idea of the whole thing and going back to the beginning wasn't a fantastic idea. It was the overall execution and how he was directed, how it was written, the fact that he's not a seasoned actor, all those things, factored into it. But I tried so hard in my review to not rip him to shreds because he's really trying. And so that carries some weight to it too. But at the same time, as you're not just a fan, but you're trying to review it, you have to be like, what? I can't just blindly say that, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it does matter to the story and things like that. And it took me so far out of it that it's just one of the things that bothered me. But he did his best. I think he did his best, but his best just wasn't good enough.
Well, and I think you have it. I mean, by far, he is not the worst thing in this episode at all. It's just of note because, hey, it's great that he's there. Yeah. Wow, they really had an opportunity that maybe stumbled a little bit, and that's the only reason we're kind of, I think, really jumping on this first. But yeah,
I just wanted to say, I don't think anyone here thinks it's actually his fault. I think it's more the directors didn't really say, hey, okay, look, we have Garrett, we have Bill Paxton as Garrett, we need, this version of Garrett to play out in order for it to work properly.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should have been there to say, okay, pull it back. Yes, keep the delivery in terms of, the snappy way that you deliver it, but a little less energy.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that kind of did away with it for me.
Sure.
But like I said, shout out to James Paxton, because I mean, I think that if he winds up seeing some of the reviews that have been out, because I watched a ton of reviews to see if that was the consensus, and it pretty much was. So I'm hoping that he doesn't wind up seeing some of the stuff and thinking that people are trying to pile on him. It's like, oh man, I failed my dad. No, it's really not him.
No.
It's like I said, somebody should have been there to say, hey, look, you're almost there, just a little less here and there, and you got it.
But you're right. I think you guys are hitting on a lot of the points of some of the larger issues that were with this script. And Bavaro brings this up in the chat. Elizabeth Henstridge talked about it on her live stream. There's like 3 or 4 writers on this particular episode. Unfortunately, when they were hitting this point, because it's the last season, people got to look for other work. Other jobs start to open up. People start leaving the ship. That's just what happens at the end of series sometimes. And sometimes you got to really have some core people. You got to have your showrunners. You've got to have other people come in and really help guide the boat. And I think this is just one of those episodes where some people were filling in lines and didn't entirely know the story. That, look, let's be honest. We love this show, so we know everything that happens. So we're all hypercritical. And that's, yeah. Nerd discussion here. Let's be very clear about where we're coming from here. We're on it because we're fans, because we appreciate it, and because we know these things, and they have enough writers and source people that should know these things. So when they fall through the cracks, it's just sad. And if they're doing it on the last season, then we feel like we're being a little cheated, and we're a little hurt in our hearts. So I think that's something that really kind of played into it. I do have one question, speaking with Garrett and History and Colston. Didn't they come up together? Isn't there a whole discussion where Garrett's talking about, remember, coming up with Under Fury, slicing the pie, which is a basic tactical maneuver. That's like training camp kind of stuff. Wouldn't Phil have recognized, even a possibly younger than when he met him, Garrett, and not gone like, who are you?
Okay, well, here is the thing, though, right? Because all right, so you have Garrett in 1983, who looks like he's maybe in his 20s or something like that, right? Let's say early to mid 20s, right? When do we first meet chronologically? When do we first meet Phil Colston? In the 1990s, in the mid 1990s, in Captain Marvel, and he's damn near brand new to S.H.I.E.L.D. with Fury, right? So now I don't know if he came from CIA before he went to S.H.I.E.L.D. or FBI before he went to S.H.I.E.L.D. or straight to S.H.I.E.L.D., but it seems like Garrett went straight to S.H.I.E.L.D., nowhere else.
Right.
So there could be a lapse. And then also remember, too,
well, then he said 7 years to the Balkans was when he got injured and started the Deathlock project. So that would have been around 90. So even if Colson didn't meet him until the mid 90s, let's say around, Captain Marvel or something, that's still only a 10 years older version of what we have here. I'm just saying he knew Garrett long enough.
Well, but here's the thing, though, right? Now, it could be, because remember, Nathaniel tells him, hey, you go on your mission, you get hurt real bad, and S.H.I.E.L.D. just kind of leaves you, doesn't give you an extract, right?
Right.
You could say that you kind of have like the Mark Hamill thing going on, because a lot of people say that Mark Hamill, he got into a car accident in between
Star Wars and Empire, and that's why
and people to me, he doesn't look a hell of a lot different, but a lot of people say that they think that he looks, different enough. So it could be one of those things where after that accident, there was some facial reconstruction or whatever, and he doesn't look quite the same.
Sure. I mean, these are all reasonable answers, and so it's just one of those things where it was like, God, I thought they had hit on the point that they knew each other for a long time, and yet he seems to not recognize them. And I'd recognize younger versions of people I know, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me harping on something. But It's the who is it here in the chat? Lily Mack mentions overall feeling of the episode felt choppy or chaotic, and to me, it's just that's one of those examples of it. It was just things didn't seem to mesh like where they were supposed to mesh.
Yeah.
And we had some other bad actors, I think, in this. I am sorry to say it. I don't know where she's from. Cora is awful. I don't know when she's trying to be evil. It doesn't feel evil. It just feels like someone who's trying to be. I don't know. I don't. Every time that she sort of pops up, I got sort of pulled out of the show. And I think that's one of the things. It's just, again, there's a lot of these small stuff between the writing, the general storyline, Nathaniel, the powers, Cora. This is going to be a rant fest, folks. I'm really sorry about that. Rob, why don't you jump in? I feel like I keep sort of stabbing. Someone else take the knife, please.
Well, first off, I think Colston working that closely to Fury and being just how he is, he'd at least know of Garrett. And if he knew of Garrett, he'd see a picture of him from back then. So there's that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But like as far as Cora goes, I mean, I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care about all of a sudden we're throwing a mystery long lost sister plot in the middle of the last bit of this show with no time to actually resolve this in any kind of way that matters. You have no way to develop the character in a way that matters. You've got an actress who's just not very good. And again, not just harping on the actress, it's the writing, it's the people who direct them. But also in her case, she sounded like a sorority girl trying to be bad. Just, oh, I'm going to be bad. It just, why do we need to have this story jammed in here when we've got to fix so much? And I'm supposed to care. And it's like, I love Daisy. And the important thing was Daisy and Jiaying in this. And even that was writing a line. And then throw in the sister part that's just like, unless they're setting up Quake and Cora spinoff, I don't care. And I don't mean that to like be a jerk. It's just, it doesn't make sense for the story at all. And I mean, it even almost sounds like the rest of the characters don't really care. To me, there's so many other things that they got to take care of, and it's like we don't need to talk about this. Let's deal with this. There's so much to say about this episode. I don't want to just harp on the Cora part, but I mean there really is no time to develop her. And like I said,
something else.
Like, what are we gonna do? Like, is it suddenly gonna be bonding time? And like how quickly she went to evil. Right before she's going to kill herself, she suddenly turns ultra bad. And now in the trailer for next week, we've got her going, I'm going to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, which I don't buy for a freaking second.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It sounds like we're supposed to, like, she thinks that she sounds convincing. And I'm like waiting for the rest of the characters to literally look at the camera and go, are you guys buying this? Because not even us are buying this. Like, we know that this character is just pretending to be good so that she can do something. I mean, well,
I'm pretty sure this is where...
As bad as I was last year with the Deep Tech Company episode. In fact, I think I'm madder now because if this only thing that would have made this worse was if that Sequoia character showed up out of nowhere. Then I probably would have just turned the TV off and I would have just watched Dee's review and just been like Don and give my recap later.
Okay.
Moving on. There's so much more. That's my take on Cora, okay? That's my take.
You know, Anybody got any boba?
Yeah, man. The passion. It's the passion that you come here for.
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, April Lee's mentioning in the chat, Cora was an opportunity wasted. If she'd been around longer, explored more, and been the baddie rather than Malik, it may have worked out better. And well, that's it. This is the wrong time to start opening these whole new storylines. There's 3 episodes left. We haven't seen Fitz. We don't know where he is. We've got the whole Chronicom thing to deal with, plus wrap up how they're actually going to fix, if they're going to fix the time stream. What did we accomplish in this episode outside of Gemma really being captured? And apparently getting powers is easy now, which is something I always hate.
Well, can we say we pretty much the only thing that really was done right was the fake out and the twist that they were after Gemma.
Right.
That was pretty much about the only thing that was like, oh, you know what? I should have thought about that one, but that was pretty much about the only thing. Everything else, everything else pretty much fell flat.
Last week
now, and absolutely hilarious skits with you, Darren, with the
Oh yeah. Gordon's telegraphed capture and death. Tell me, anyone, the minute that he says, I will take you into a secret space. Honestly, I thought he was going to teleport into the room where they were holding, where they were doing all the power transfer. Like that was the secret place that they had picked. And then it's like, don't worry, I'll get you out one last time. Did it.
Last week we talked about how they did things just to get that one thing done. We had to just get to this one, and they did it again this week, where it was like all we were trying to get to was them capturing Gemma. And we did all this bull crap that didn't need to be there to do it. Same as last week. And they've done it other times this season too. And we haven't really nitpicked about it as much because there were so many other good things going on. But when you have this many problems in an episode, all these things start to really pop up and show, like, if this had been like episode 2 or 3 and they worked it out, that's fine. But it's worrisome that it's starting, especially as awesome as last week was, to have it just take this nosedive in quality so hard. And then that, like you're saying, like Gordon says, I'm going to teleport you into somewhere secret. And I'm like thinking, yes, like on the outskirts of where you're at, a secret room or a secret wall that I would believe that the Inhumans would have, right? Secret places to get in and out of, literally in and out of, not actually into the place, in a secret hallway that no one ever goes down, even though it looks like every other hallway in the damn place. Oh, no.
Hallways are never secret
I know this
places.
one hallway where I go and I smoke when no one's around. This hallway is perfect hallway that just no one is. It's a dead zone, right? You can't even make cell phone calls from this hallway. But as soon as he said it, it's like it was so obvious, it was so telegraphed that this was going to be a complete and utter failure of our entire team, when realistically, right, this plan that they have to go in there should have been easy as hell for our seasoned characters to take care of, instead of just jumping in there like this and having us worry about whether another person with powers like Yo-Yo is going to get captured, because the writers they wanted it to go a certain way, and it didn't matter that our characters would be good enough to be and smart enough to not be fooled by these things, to walk into these tropes, to walk into these cliches. We have all our characters acting like Tyrion in Game of Thrones season 8. All of a sudden, the smartest person in the whole show turns into a dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't totally argue with that. Now, I mean, it does involve kind of an interesting twist, the fact that Nathaniel does have, with connection to Sybil, access to the time stream and thus can see all of these different variations of futures and stuff. And so they can see with probability and likelihood where things might happen. That does create sort of an interesting chess game that you would have to work out. But I think again, it's the idea is good. The execution feels a little weak sauce. Real quick, also, I want to point out in the chat, several people bringing up the reappearance of Roxy Glass as a high point in the episode, and that's great. There were really cool moments in here. I loved Matt giving it up to Colston. It's like, look, we're underwater. We're dead in the water right here. Forget about whatever I need you to be you. It's kind of just was this nice restructure of the team of like, let's just do what we need. There was a lot of cool stuff and moments in this episode. So it's not like this was a complete waste and trash. I mean, I don't believe so. I think maybe the reaction's also so strong is the fact that this is 4 episodes from the end. There's 3 episodes left. I am a little concerned of what their end game is, because this seems like an odd, weak direction to move into at the time and bringing in new things. We still have the Chronicons to deal with and Fitz. There's so many different storylines and threads out in the air. I'm concerned with how they're going to wrap this up. And again, if you're adding 2 extra seasons, short even as they are, you know what you've got to do. You know how to wrap everything up. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but something like this actually makes me a little nervous. I was with the ride in the beginning, and now I really don't know where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and think about it, 3 hours. 3 hours to wrap up everything that we have. Where's Fitz? Will the team get back to the regular timeline, and will it be part of the MCU after this? How are they defeating the Chronicons? Is Deke still going to be a thing? Does he fade from existence? Is Jiaying dead now?
Yeah.
We've introduced new elements into this thing that, it's like, no, you can't go setting up new dominoes now when the dominoes are like, you're almost at the end of the damn puzzle, and you're like, no, we're just gonna add a few more in here. Like, no, you can't.
No, don't add to the plate. We're trying to clean the plate.
Yeah, like a little more macaroni for you. Fuck the macaroni, goddammit! This doesn't even have enough cheese on it. God damn, people.
Yeah, you don't jump the shark 4 episodes before it's over.
Yeah.
That's a move that you do for when you have 2 more seasons going on, and somebody goes, and then there's a moment and they jump the shark and they go on for 2 more seasons where you just see the quality go down. No, they did it right here at the end with adding Cousin Oliver, Cora to the show.
That is a dig right there. An appropriate dig, by the way. I love that.
That hurt. Oh, God.
Because nobody wanted him there, right? None of the other kids wanted him there. We're the other kids. We're the Bradys going, why is he here?
Yeah,
Except we're saying it about Cora.
For those that are unfamiliar, Cousin Oliver is a character that was added in the late seasons of the Brady Bunch as the kids were starting to get too old to try and maintain some of the youthful environment. And much like the Happy Days episode where Fonzie does actually jump the shark, it has become synonymous with just those late additions to try and save a show or to try and add a new element that just fail hard.
Leonardo DiCaprio on Growing Pains.
Oh yeah. What's his
Worked
name?
out for him,
Richie's
though.
cousin. Richie's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did he come in once Ron Howard left? That never worked.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Topher Grace leaving that '70s show, and then they brought in the surfer-looking guy. What was that? The one guy, the late night Seth Meyers' brother, comes in to save that show, right? And then the show just went. Yeah. You know, it's still done today. You know, and Sal Dogbed, I absolutely agree that they have to dispatch the villains and spend the rest of the time on getting fits and focusing on the team. This next episode needs to end this little thing that they're doing. They cannot be in the finale. We cannot have Cora and Nathaniel still messing stuff up in the finale. We can't now.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough time. There's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's not even the length time of Infinity War. Okay?
That's right, because it's only 45 per episode. So, yeah, hour and a half, 225. Yeah.
It's going to be one of those finales otherwise that we're going to be sitting there with 20 minutes left going, how the hell are they going to wrap this up in 20 minutes? When you're sitting there on your hands like, we've got stuff to get to still. How are you going to fit it all in? And we're doing that now, and we were 4 episodes back. So now going into next week's episode, I'm going to be like this the whole time.
Well, let me ask you something then. Maybe this will cover some of the other issues here. What do you guys think is Nathaniel's plan? Because obviously we know Sybil's endgame. Sybil wants Earth destroyed, Chronicom's taking over. She's going to take that planet. Why, if you have a time ship, you don't go back and just fix your own planet? I don't know. We won't get into that. Just going to say we know Sybil's plan. What is Nathaniel looking for? Because I think even Colston sort of tips onto it of like, what's your endgame here? Sybil wants the planet. Where are you going? What does Nathaniel want? What is his anarchy looks like? Because what is Sybil like? Well, you can keep Australia. You know, is he going to pull old Lex Luthor on there? Or what?
You know what? I think that he's going to try to double cross Sybil, and she's going to be like, idiot. I've been feeding you all the information that you've been using to win. You think I didn't see this one coming? And then he's out of here. So I think he's going to wind up getting dispatched probably either at the end of next episode or sometime like early during the finale, because Malik has got to be out of here so they can fight the Chronicoms as the last big thing. So I think ultimately it's going to be he's going to try to give more people powers, and then they're going to figure out that, we can give the Chronicoms powers, and then he's going to try to betray Sybil, and she's going to just be like, no. Like, remember, I'm the one who sees the future here, not you. Okay, goodbye. Boom, you're done.
Right. Yeah.
That's like Starscream going after Megatron, man. Come on. Right? The guy is just, if they had just left the roof, if the barn had just stayed on him, all right, and he hadn't gotten the powers, or we didn't have to do this whole stealing powers so easy through like a blood transfusion plot, they could have actually had time.
Mm-hmm. We lost. You're silent. We lost your voice. We're doing this, but if you guys can hear all of us, I don't know. Damn Chronicoms. They're interrupted his mic.
They don't want to speak in the truth. All right, unmute yourself. You just muted.
All right. Where did you lose me?
There we go. All right.
Where did you lose me? Because I was still here.
Just as you started.
It didn't mute until a second ago. Anyway. Yeah. So Great.
Yeah.
So I don't
They
know.
just-
Like they still could have gone if they had just left.
No,
Oh.
you did.
No, you just muted yourself again.
This is not. This is yeah.
They don't want you speaking.
There you go.
Now.
You should be back now.
Wait,
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just mute popped up on your screen here.
It just keeps happening to me.
Somebody does
I'm
not
not
want
touching anything.
the truth right now.
My hands are right here, man. Right? Look, hands
He's,
over my head.
he's speaking the
They
truth.
could have still gotten.
What him telling the
They still could have gone and did the Jiaying plot line with Korra if they just left Nathaniel buried, get rid of the whole Inhumans stealing power stuff. Then her character would have mattered a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. Nathaniel is pointless.
But also, I mean, even if you brought him back, at least give him some aegis or something. Because, look, I have said it for several weeks now how I am upset that with a blood transfusion, he got Quake's powers. Not even like, I mean, Whitehall took Jiaying apart, and he's a Nazi-trained scientist, doctor, studying things. And I believe he only got like a single dose to re-age him. They never gave any indication that Whitehall had powers of any other sort. Right. So it's not like he took Jiaying's powers on that. Whereas Nathaniel, with a phone call and a couple of notes of Whitehall, before he even gets to Jiaying and actually does any of his ideas, on a one shot, and I'm not sure of Nathaniel's education, but I don't believe it's medical, succeeds in permanently grafting Quake's powers to himself.
Yeah.
Now, if he had gotten a taste of it and he had used the time, especially with Sybil, to hunt down Inhumans and starting to build his army, and they had brought in some, again, with few small lines of like, Inhumans have been dropping all over the place. We don't know what's been happening. And he shows up with like a small army of people because so far he gets here. There's nobody else with powers. He doesn't have any other guys. He gets Knife Guy, which he just got off of Lee's powers. And he gets Garrett with Gordon's powers. And that's all that we see. So it just feels like I don't know what he's doing. And he's doing Sybil's plan. It's just, yeah, I think you're right, Don. I think he's just going to be like, I'm going to turn the tables on you. And Sybil's going to be like, yeah, bah! And we're going to just have wasted 3 episodes with the character that means nothing.
Yeah. So
Starscream Megatron.
No, there's got to be a Malik, somehow. And so this is, because there needs to be a Malik somewhere. So yeah, there you go. Boom.
Now on the plus side, we did get another Avengers reference in the midst of this episode, which was kind of funny in its way because, of course, we have Phil asking Garrett, who has now seen all the futures in the timeline and what happens, what of the many deaths of Phil's was his favorite. And he says, long-haired guy, pointy stick, which is, of course, Loki stabbing him through the heart. Now, would that be your favorite if then he shoots Loki with the same gun that he ends up killing Garrett with? Would that be his favorite?
Well, no, he actually shot him with a different gun. It wasn't the exact same gun.
I thought it was the big one because Fury hands it to him and he goes, "Yeah, I know what this does."
Oh no, right. He shot him the first time with that, but then he gets healed with the Deathlock tech, and then after that,
he got him with another. Okay, yeah. Okay, then my memory was wrong. I don't mind being wrong at all. Okay. But that is another Avengers reference. Again, with Sousa here, are we still thinking this is going to somehow end up in the Battle of New York? Or are we really just, as fans, totally reaching at this point?
No, I still think that's how it's going to go.
Sal Dogbed says he killed him with the gun from episode 2. Shot him with 084. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Sorry, I was thinking of the Diviner, but that was the original 084. Okay.
You know what's funny? I don't know if you guys ever realized this, but that was like one major plot that was dropped from season 1. Them recapturing all of the escaped convicts from all the shield facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like because I remember that I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This would be like Avengers vs. Mighty's Heroes, where every week they just go after another villain, and then they just kind of drop that whole thing in lieu of going to Tahiti, and then we just haven't heard anything about them capturing the villains from the raft and all that stuff anymore. So,
well, that unfortunately, they did have their hands tied a little bit in season 1 because they were conscripted in with the big change that was going to happen with the MCU with a Winter Soldier, but they couldn't be told about that much ahead of time. So they were kind of constricted into this almost monster of the week idea because the big overarching storyline, nobody could know what was going to happen. So it made that's I think what sort of made season 1 a little funky. Not only of just what happens with normal first seasons with trying to get your footing and figure everything out.
no, but remember that whole thing with all of the villains escaping. And I know we're going off on a tangent right now, but that whole thing with all of them escaping happened after the Hydra reveal. Because remember, that's when
right. That was after turn.
Yeah.
When they were on the run, when they went and busted everything out. Okay, you're right. Then I got nothing. They did end up picking up at least Graviton by the time they got to season 5, because that was one they played with through half of season 1, and then we never heard anything again.
And they had the Absorbing Man too.
I thought that was awesome that they brought him back. But I'm trying to think, did they want to kill him off from season 5?
No, he died in season 5 with Graviton. Didn't he get sucked into? Didn't he get pulled into him? Or something about that all fell apart with him, which was kind of a bummer. I ended up enjoying Creel as a character.
Well, at least we actually got to see him,
Well, here's something we haven't talked about, and it's the great scene between Daisy and Simmons talking about her emotional state of being devastated by what she remembered, and what that all meant. And basically, that led to her talking to Deke and her whole thing getting taken. Because I mean, if that was the whole reason for the episode, we should probably talk about that, because it really does go like, is he even out there? I mean, I know that's probably a bait and switch, but I honestly still don't know what they're going to do with this at all. I didn't really cover it that much. You covered it a little bit more on your review, Darren. But that's still like the blank spot in how they're going to handle it. And now I am, like you said, worried about how they're going to handle the rest of this. I'm worried about how they're going to handle this too. Because if we're not going to have that much time to do it, it makes me more worried that maybe the answer is as simple as the one we don't want.
Right. Which I thought was interesting, that she actually goes through that they actually explored that idea in the episode, since we were talking about it so much last week. Is he dead? And the idea is that, they were just pretty much following the Chronicoms, and they went wherever the Chronicom ship was going. I think Gemma had said something about, the Chronicoms pick the time, but then it's Fitz decides where, and that is the best place for them to go. But that doesn't end up being the case. They only end up where the Chronicom ship is. So they gave us a lot of reasons of why maybe there is no Fitz there. Maybe he had to sacrifice in some way to in order to allow whatever to be happening for Gemma to continue and help the rest of the team. However, if Sybil is looking at the time streams and Fitz is the only thing, stopping her from winning, that kind of confirms that he's still alive.
Yeah, because I'm like, you can't kill off Fitz off screen. You can't. Like, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think one of the worst off-screen deaths I had ever seen in any television show, Fear the Walking Dead, season 2 or season 1. I don't know if you guys know anything about Fear the Walking
Travis
Dead.
died in the opener season 3.
Right. So in season 2, Travis's son, the off-screen death where you find out that the two guys had and just dumped his body, and they had the flashback to them just shooting him down on the road. I was like, yeah, I hated that kid, but this is just a like off-screen, and this is how not only does the audience find out, but the dad finds out this way. I was like, oh, hell no. So you definitely can't do something like that to Fitz. I mean, like, oh my. I mean,
well, it was also kind of an Avengers thing because they said the way that they were talking about it is how Doctor Strange talked about their odds. That I saw 14 million things, and the only time was this one thing. We don't get to know that until the end of Endgame. But then the way they talk about it here, it's like every single time we lost, it was because of this one thing. And it was
right.
Fixed. I just felt like that was another kind of little wink to their own Endgame.
Well, and this is sort of what I'm now starting to feel, of course, is since there is only one episode left, is basically your 2-hour finale going to start off with episode 12 is the story of Fitz. And that becomes the opener to our finale movie. We're saying 7 seasons in a movie. They may be trying to give us a movie with their 2-parter and play it out that is the story of Fitz and what happens. And that brings us all into the final battle zone of wherever that's going to be. Which is great, but man,
I never would have thought that we were going to have to wait this long. I kept, it just like there's a purpose to it all. And I really hope that, I've said this before. I know there's a plan, and they can't include us in the plan. But man, I mean, I kept remember I was like episode 6. No, it's got to be episode 7.
Yeah.
They kept dragging it up, and now I'm just like, I don't know.
We won't get them until the coda of next episode, if that would be my guess. I don't
walk in at the very last moment. Door opens, light comes out. Dun da da.
Well,
what I miss, guys.
April in the chat thinks that Fitz gave up his corporeal form so that he could be in the same place as Sybil and know what they were doing. Sal Dogbed agrees, thinking maybe the real mind of Fitz is like an AI in the Zephyr. So yeah, seems to be a few people thinking that might be the same. That might be exactly where they're going.
So basically, they did the same thing that happened with that what is it L337 becoming the damn computer for the Millennium Falcon. Really? Come on, man! No!
Oh God! No! Don't do that! Don't do that!
No!
Have we ever cared about the nav computer on the Falcon?
No!
Did we have any reason to think that it was an AI or anything particularly special about the nav computer on the Falcon?
Yeah, no. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that he is a freaking AI on the Zephyr. No. God damn, no.
Well, they do like giving us tragic endings, and they're already, of course, telling us even in canon, in show, that this is the final mission of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, look, normally I really trust the writers. They have pulled out some amazing stuff over the years that I did not expect at all, and goes from a moment of like, what are they doing, man, to cheering and throwing drinks around my room and dancing. So I know great stuff can happen from here. And Mark Kolpeck, again, I know I bring him up a lot, but I follow his Twitter feed and he's awesome, has talked about the massive effects that are coming up in here, our big finale. So I think they are kind of adding for a movie end, but they were doing really good this season. It just feels weird this last episode and these past couple of codas. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me started on the Daisy superhero moment that went nowhere.
The almost scene of the week.
The almost scene of the week. That was so awesome.
Because it was. I mean, that was beautiful. We see the face-off. I love the fact that they do take a moment in between fighting Nathaniel for Jiaying and Daisy to have a little heart-to-heart. I always love these conversations in the middle of battle. But yeah, there was so much that expectations. They do the slow-mo. They do Daisy standing up. It's the Daisy pose, the moment, to show like, Nathaniel, you stole powers. I'm Quake, really expecting. And now he gets shot, runs off.
Bang.
Would May miss? Really? I mean, that would have been kind of a funny moment for Daisy to stand up all badass and then Malik to just get his head blown off and just drop to the ground. Or, okay, it's ABC, shot in the back and then die. But I guess you can't have a hero shoot a villain in the back. His back was to her. I don't know.
They could have shown Daisy's face get splattered with blood a little bit, and then you just see Nathaniel go down, like, kind of just die. I don't know.
Would Sybil have seen that coming? Yeah, that's I guess if they had more time, that was intended why they needed to get to all this. But yeah. Again, it's a moment that had somewhere to go and didn't.
And they took it. They took it away from us. They literally hyped us up. They slow-moed it down so that we'd be even great. Like, yeah, finally, this is happening. This episode's about to be saved in one moment. Oh, no.
Yeah. Silver Surfer mentions that Daisy would have flooded the base had May not shot him. Well, see, but I think this would have been the moment to show how badass Daisy was, that she could quake his whole body without damaging anything around. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It felt like that would have been the moment for her to really show her maturity and power. And I think that's sort of why it was a little buddy. Although Barbaro mentions Whitehall style, Nathaniel being dropped, that would have been a perfect kind of like, would have been a perfect dad-daughter moment of her ready to kill Nathaniel and then May taking him out before he had a chance to.
Yeah, because you know what? Colston shot Whitehall in the back.
Yeah.
I said that in the review.
That would have been so cool. See, we're coming up with better stuff that they did. Oh. I think we're hitting there. Is there any other thing that I know we've just been harping on the episode because it deserved it. But was there any other thing that you guys wanted to touch on, mention? Anything else?
Deke opening for Twisted Sister.
That was awesome. Cool.
Deke Squad. I want a Deke Squad t-shirt. That would be pretty dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you should be able to get that from the ABC store, or at the very least, someone on eBay is going to have
Redbubble, TeePublic, something like that.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Constable. No, I think we got that. Sousa's being cool as Sousa. He's square, but he's a good, strong character. See, again, this is someone you develop over the time and course of the season, not new villain number 3?
That's going to be kind of weird. Like, so I'm pretty sure Daisy probably still remembers kissing Sousa. He remembers none of it. You know, I still don't like that shit. Not at all.
Well, she has the out now because now she can choose if that's something that she wants to do or not. Which I don't know, is kind of messed up in some ways.
I'm still not digging it anyway. No. Yeah,
They're going to do something with it probably very late in the game probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that people have been calling it Susie, I'm like, no,
so horrible.
Ugh.
So I was kind of trying to mix Daniel and Daisy up, and you just keep getting the same thing. Daniel, because they both start and end. Never mind. All right. Well, I think it's about time that we go ahead and wrap things up. Want to thank everybody for joining us in with the chat. Let's see, Barbaro squares the new sexy. True. Devontae was talking to Kid and missed the entire show. Oh, we feel for you, Devontae. But that is being a parent. Luckily, this will be in the archive, and you can go back and catch up on anything that you did miss. Yeah. All right. So next week, our big Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. So please join us live. We're going to put a link down out in the chat so you guys can jump on board, and we'll try and rotate some through. Depending on how many people come up, depends on how long you get to sort of stay and stick around. But yeah, so we will be able to talk about our expectations for the way the show is going to end, what we've thought of the season, and kind of just vent our fan emotions as I think we're all going to need to do. So that is next Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. So, Don, why don't you give us your final thoughts and let people know where they can find you?
Final thoughts. They just better not kill off Fitz off screen. Listen, you can find me here, hopefully more enthusiastic next week. Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. Got Down of Ice and Fire, that's the channel name. Hopefully I put out a new video sooner or later or something or whatever. I don't know. My girlfriend called me a lazy bastard, and I think she's right.
All right. What about you, Rob? You have any final thoughts? And what are you up to? What can people find you?
Well, like I said, I hope they need to finish the majority of this plot that they're doing to next week, so we can have a proper finale to give us the proper goodbyes and handle their crap. I was gonna say something else.
Don't demonetize us. I need that 3 cents.
But you can find me here on Fridays. Wednesdays is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sunday nights is Perry Mason. And then Smirking Gun Plays on Twitch, where we're still playing Ghost of Tsushima. That game is huge. And then tomorrow night on my channel, we'll be doing a watch party for Guns Akimbo with Daniel Radcliffe and Samara Weaving. And then my friend from The Real Gino and I are going to be hosting that watch party. And then immediately after on my channel, we're going to be doing a live discussion and review for the movie through StreamYard on YouTube. And that'll be around 9:15, 9:30 on Smirking Gun Reviews.
Excellent. All right. So, you could, of course, always find us all here Fridays for Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., at least for the next 2 weeks. You can catch my reviews on Wednesday nights for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Coming up, apparently, Walking Dead's going to have its finale in the beginning of October. I think it's October 4th, something like that. So there will be a review for that dropped soon afterwards. Apparently, they're also adding 6 episodes to this season. They're not doing a new season. They're adding 6 episodes to this season. How they're doing that, what are they doing? Nobody knows. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to cover those individually, maybe just as a group. It's going to be like one-off. You're going to have single episodes of just like one character because they're all COVID separated now. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but that's going to be coming up next year. But anyway, and then, of course, we will have new fan shows coming up. First of the Boys coming up September 4th. And then, of course, The Mandalorian, I believe, also in October. So excellent. Thank you guys so much for joining us here with Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we will see you all next week. Thanks so much and take care. Be safe. Wear a mask.